In the mid-20th century, Brooklyn fell upon hard times, but in the last 20 years there has been a real renaissance, especially in one neighborhood bordering the Gowanus Canal.
If you want to get a sense of what Red Hook was like during its industrial heyday of the 1930s, go watch Marlon Brando in On the Waterfront. That rough and tumble, brutal movie took place here on the docks of Red Hook. Now, Red Hook is actually an anglicized version of Red Hook, the Dutch word, which meant red point. And it was a navigation term, because as Dutch sailors would come into the harbor, the whole area was covered in red clay. And the red point was their navigation icon to look for Gowanus Bay.
Now, while most of the industries that put Brooklyn on the map have all disappeared, we are pleased to say that Made in Brooklyn is still alive and well. From the outside, this warehouse may look like just another factory in Red Hook. But once you set foot inside, it becomes immediately evident that it is not. It is, in fact, the home of Cacao Prieto, one of the only chocolatiers in the world that actually produces from bean to bar. And who would have thought it got its start by a former aerospace engineer? When Daniel Preston sold his defense company, he was faced with a 5-year non-compete and decided to build upon the family business.
My father's side of the family comes from the Dominican Republic, and they've been in big in agriculture since the late 1800s. So I got introduced to cacao. Jokingly say that I caught cacao fever, because it's a really magical tree. Became fascinated with the science behind it and just started working on the farm, and this all came from there.
Daniel makes it sound so simple, but there is actually a tremendous amount of science involved. First, the organic cacao, or cocoa beans, are sourced from his family farm, along with organic sugar from the Dominican Republic.
This is a turn-of-the-century Barth Sirocco roaster. It was made in Germany. We completely rebuilt it with modern gas burners, computer control. So it's a new machine on an old chassis.
Got it.
And what this does is we put about 1/4 ton of beans in here, and we roast them. So the beans tumble around in there while a gas flame cooks them. Then afterwards, they're dumped down into the bottom where they cool.
Next, the beans have to be skinned, and for smaller batches, they use this machine that Daniel actually invented and then built.
So what this does is there's rollers in here that crack the beans, crush it up into like kitty litter consistency. It comes out to the bottom where it gets pneumatically conveyed into these vortex tubes. And so they spin around, and the heavy particles, because of centripetal force, spin down to the bottom. And the light particles, the skins, get sucked up and go into the other chamber.
Once skinned, they are finally ground in this Victorian-era machine, this refurbished stone melange that was made in 1895.
It's basically 16 tons of granite that spin and crush up.
Where did you find this?
This was from the Scharfenberger factory.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we bought the old Scharfenberger factory from Hershey's and brought it here. This was before basically the internal combustion engine, or before electric motors were created.
Once liquefied, it can go 2 places. The butter press uses 600 tons of pressure to separate the butter fat, and the remaining cocoa powder gets pressed into cakes. Or it can go into the refiner to create a smooth texture. I never knew chocolate was so scientific.
It's absolutely a product of the Industrial Revolution.
But before we taste it, it should also be noted that Cacao Prieto doesn't waste one bit of the byproduct of the process. Instead, it is distilled right here and made into cacao-based liquors. Have you ever tried chocolate rum? Well done, my friends. I like to see you're not wasting anything from the process.
There's some of the confections that we make. The yellow one is like caramelized honey. The one with the gold leaf on top, that's our signature bonbon. It has our rum on the inside with a little bit of Madeira wine.
Okay, I'm eating that one.
You have to eat it as one bite though, because
You gotta eat the whole thing?
It's a liquid center.
All right, you don't have to ask me twice. 3, 2, 1. They're good. That's so good. Cashew and cranberries, look at that. You can see. They're beautiful, they're like little works of art.
Thanks.
Now you see it, now you don't.
It's like a mini chunky bar.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
We will be back. Coming up, naked pasta, hand-stuffed donuts, the social way this restaurant raised money, plus Megan's back with our pop-up New York quiz.
Toni, this defunct factory had its heyday during World War I. What it produced became more popular as soldiers went off to war. Still don't know where I am? Come on, New York, you so got this!